Hey everybody, welcome to the first ever Spill the Tea podcast by Design a Shirt. I'm your host, Dallas, here with my co-host, Jesse.
Hi everybody. So kind of the obvious question here is, why did we decide to start a podcast? I am so excited that we are doing this. We both had the idea to try out a podcast, and my thought behind Spill the Tea is to bring customers behind the scenes, if you will, of what goes on in our shop. Not too many people know what happens after you submit an online order through our website. And from our standpoint, we have highs, we have lows, we have victories, we have daily challenges. We have days where we feel like we rock and we're on top of everything, and then days where we struggle. And we have to come together to get it done and do what's best for our customers. So my thought is, having customers join our experience and feel like they are a part of our journey is a really fun concept to me. I love our industry and I love talking about our industry, so here we are.
Exactly. You know, there's a lot of industry, I don't want to say podcasts, but people that are speaking to other printers. And this seems like a really great opportunity for our customers to have an idea of what goes on. And remember, our customers aren't just the one-offs. Some of those customers might be wanting to start a brand. Some of them may already have a brand, and so they may understand the struggles. But for us to be experts in the field, it's nice to come together and say, we have some experience to help make things right and achieve whatever goal you have. I think one of the biggest parts of this podcast that I want to share is how much that I've learned about this industry since starting. I'm probably one of the newer people, but I know exactly what it's like to be a consumer. I know what it's like to walk into a store and see, a t-shirt and not understand what blanket's printed on or how many colors go into it or anything like that. And I like to be able to do orders for my friends. And I've realized that it's not a cut and dry. Sometimes it takes a couple more steps. How do we break down the art? Is it going digital? Is it going screen? How many steps are even involved in screen printing? Just to give you an example of how eye-opening it really is, I'll just take you through a simple order. A order comes in through the website. Customer decides, typically based on volume, whether it's going to be a screen print or a digital print. Whichever one it is determines how art handles it. But it's not so simple as to just go grab a shirt off of a shelf. We have a very elaborate scheduling system that goes on behind the scenes. When does the order need to be delivered? When do we have to order the goods in? At what point does the art department have to start working on the art? And do they need enough lead time in order to provide a proof to the customer? So there's quite a bit. And then even beyond that, someone has to make the screens. How many screens are involved? Does it go on a manual printer or an automatic printer? There's quality control along the entire way. And then once the screens are done, they have to be washed out and reused again. So a t-shirt that costs $23 is a really reasonable price when you consider how much labor actually goes into it. But we do our best to try and create as many affordable options as possible and methods as well to meet a budget depending on what that volume happens to be. So I think a great thing for us to talk about would be some examples of things that we've run into that you may not have any idea of, and how we've overcome them or made a situation better or improved it for our customers.
So with that in mind, I'm going to talk about an order that, from an outside standpoint, it seemed like a really straightforward order. We have a local radio company here that we were doing an order for an event, and they provided us with vector artwork. It seemed to be a two-color print. We still went through the process of sending them a proof. Everything was good to go. And with every screen print order, our production team always gets a printed proof approval before we actually fulfill the order and print the shirts for the customer themselves. So in this case, we tried a couple different prints, and the outcome using two screens, it wasn't cutting it. It didn't look right. The details were missing. The colors looked a little off. And we weren't happy with it. And even though the customer paid for only two colors, we realized sending them a print using only two colors, aka two screens, was not going to make them happy, and they were not going to be happy with shirts for the event, which would have been a problem. So without even involving the customer, we went ahead and decided to tweak the art, add a third color and screen to the design to really achieve details in the print that we knew the customer would be really happy with. technically, if we would have known that this was needed up front and that 3 screens was going to be what we ended up using, we would have technically needed to charge the color for a 3-color design versus a 2-color design. But in this case, we did what's right for the customer. We didn't involve them. We decided to eat that internal cost to maintain a great relationship with this customer who we love working with, give them shirts that they were super excited about, and even though Art had to set up new art, we had to take down the order that was up on the press, so that way that entire press wasn't held up by us waiting for new screens. Then we go back and we have guys in back who burn new screens, wash them out, they have to dry, then we set them back up, we have to align them. We have to put ink on and go through that whole process of printing a first print and making sure we're happy with it before we started the run of shirts for the actual customer. So in some cases, we may involve the customer if needed in this process, but in this case, we felt like the right thing to do was to simply make the change on our end, not delay production, not try to charge the customer additional fees. We simply decided to do what was right to make sure that the customer was happy once they actually received the shirts. And they were really happy. Everyone at the event seemed to be really stoked about the shirts too, and it ended up working out.
You know, that's the really interesting thing is I think any of us that have printed something in the past know what a 4-color process is. And the t-shirt screen printing industry, I guess in general, works off of a different method. The screens are essentially broken down into how they layer upon each other, and there's different printing methods as well. So it's really easy to look at a piece of art as a customer and say, gosh, there's only 2 colors here. And then, we come in and say, actually, in order to get the result that you're looking for, there's going to have to be some more screens. There are other ways of getting around that. I mean, in the digital world, obviously, you're not dealing with screens so much, but it really depends on what your goals are. This customer had a large volume of t-shirts. The absolute most affordable way to do this is screen printing. And anytime you go into a store and you purchase a shirt that is printed in volume, it's going to be screen printing. That's what you're accustomed to anyway. So, but the hard part is in an industry like this, we have to balance not only the time sensitivity of, do we have enough time to fix an order? Do we have enough time to reach out to the customer? Should we make the executive decision and just do it for the customer? Because there's always a risk that things don't turn out correctly and the customer is not satisfied. So you really balance what the best judgment call is. And of course, if it's a question that requires the customer, there's no other recourse. You have to reach out.
In addition to our day-to-day job and what we do on a daily basis, we realize that some aspects of our industry are sometimes repetitive in terms of whether it's customer service, production, art. Everything can be different, but then at the same time, there are things that are the same on the day-to-day basis. And we really love making the culture of our company in particular a fun place to work. So we're constantly trying to think of new ideas to make it fun to work here, to kind of give people a mental break from their day-to-day job. And one of the things that one of our coworkers saw an opportunity with a popular YouTuber, Jenna Marbles, who needs merchandise. And it sounds like she's had struggles in the past with finding a reliable company to fulfill merchandise for her. So we took the initiative to make a video, and there were people around the office who thought it would be really fun to do something silly. It was bonding at the same time, and we put together this fun video that we shot here in the office to let Jenna Marbles know, hey, like, we've got you covered. We can absolutely handle your merch. Granted, it's gotten some decent views, but no direct reply from the wonderful Jenna Marbles, but that's okay. There's an opportunity. She doesn't seem to have merch yet, so
if you're listening, Jenna, we'll put a link.
We're here.
Yeah, we would love to help you out with your problem.
So, and then of course you too in marketing, you're always looking for opportunities and trying different things to draw customers' attention, gain traffic, help with conversion. But there's some really fun opportunities that come with that too. So
yeah, we are in a great position. We are not the biggest company that's out there, and we're not the smallest. So we have the benefit of being creative and playful and doing some great things for mapping the customer journey and involving the customer. If there's any local companies in the Phoenix area that would love to partner together and create a story, or you're building a t-shirt for an event, we'd love to come out and take some video, put together something fun for you. But what's also wonderful about that is we try new things constantly, whether it's creating video content or Instagram Live or Instagram TV. We don't have to be so conservative. We can be playful. But we also have 20 years in the industry. So in addition to creating all of these fun and exciting programs, we can guarantee that whatever we take on, we can see to fruition and we won't have issues. And it's nice to be able to have that ability to pivot and no problem, I can take care of that. Sure, let's do that. You want to make a video? You want to create an opportunity? We're happy to help. It's fun for us to be able to take part in potentially another company's culture as well. And a couple things that we do internally just to boost morale too. The girls decorated your customer service room. You guys painted your room, didn't you?
We did. So we're working on it. It's baby steps. It's a work in progress. Our customer service team, I gotta say, our employees, they grind. They work so hard and they care so much and are so passionate about what they do. And we realize our room that we're in really could use some elevating. So one of our employees did take time to paint the room. We currently are in the process of adding some decor to the walls, and we have some crafts in place that we're going to be doing as a team too to decorate the walls. So it's going to be a really fun atmosphere, and it also is something really fun to do as a team that gives us a little bit of a break, especially on crazy days where mentally we start to feel a little tapped out. We can just kind of take a break and have some fun.
That's exactly why we started 5 Minutes of Fun, actually. 5 Minutes of Fun is a little break. We've done it a couple times, if you've caught it on our Instagram stories, where we get the team out of the office and do a little something, whatever it is. We're all together. We're just kind of unplugging our brains for a moment. So to give you an example, we have one where we took a misprinted tee, which is another great topic. We should probably talk about it at some point as well. But we turned it into a baseball. Jesse, I think you spearheaded that project, right?
I did.
And then we went outside and saw who could actually hit the T-ball. Another one we did was we threw paper airplanes through our Dyson fans. We have these very fancy Dyson fans that have no blades, but they are perfect for throwing things through, which, of course, if you have the ability to do, you should do. So we had a contest, and whoever could get a flying airplane through the Dyson fan got Dutch Bros, which is our local coffee place. Shout out to Dutch Bros.
We love you, Dutch Bros.
You're our favorite. Let us print your t-shirts. So, Jesse, customer service deals with a couple different directions of customers. Obviously, we have inbound orders, but we also have our concierge requests, right? So people will have a custom design that they want created, and we have to turn that into an order for them if they want to place the order. What's the process of concierge, and what does that look like for the customer?
So our t-shirt concierge, it started because we realized we had a really high demand for customers who were on their phones. And at the time, our design studio wasn't completely mobile friendly. And so we had a lot of customers who were trying to use us and we weren't quite there yet. So the t-shirt concierge actually started as a way to still be able to assist those customers. And it's a fantastic resource. Even now that we have a mobile friendly site, we have t-shirt concierge for those customers who either aren't quite computer savvy and would rather us take the reins and create a design for them, or even for customers who have a really busy schedule and simply don't have time to sit down and create a shirt or even upload their logo. They have a high demanding schedule and they just need someone to do it for them. So through our t-shirt concierge, it's a very simple, well laid out form where a customer can fill in information of the design that we need to create for them. It comes through as a card on our Trello board that's dedicated for t-shirt concierge. And either within 24 hours or 1 hour, we will have a design for you.
Do you see that customers upload their own designs more often, or is it basically just a text idea of conceptually, this is what I like?
We get a lot of photos. You can tell we live in a world of Snapchat. We get a lot of images straight from Snapchat that people want to print on a shirt. So I will say we've received some really fun and entertaining designs of photographs that people want to print on shirts. So that
That
at
could be a whole
times.
nother topic
That
in
could
itself.
absolutely be a
What do
topic
we print?
of what we print and what sparked this really high trend of people wanting photographs of themselves or their friends or
Right.
randomness on shirts. But it's fun. But other than that, people have a general idea that they just don't really know how to bring to life.
Sure.
Whether it's text or they know that they want something fun for a bachelorette or a bachelor party. And so they know what they want the text to say, but they obviously don't want
Right.
only the text. So we take it from there and we'll find a design that is a little more creative, put our twist on it, and hopefully it ends up being
Right.
something that they're really happy with.
Well, you can only have, just like products or designs, there can only be so much on a website before it becomes too much. So it's possible that someone could come to the website and say, I saw this idea on Pinterest, but I can't seem to find anything like it on your website, and I really want to create something with this feel. And so Concierge is a great component to that, where people can come in and say, this is the idea, make it my own. Because I use Canva here in the office for marketing, and Canva is a wonderful app that helps me do something that I'm not good at, which is I'm not a graphic artist. I can fumble my way through Photoshop, I can add some text, but the layout of the text is here, everything is in relationship to something else is difficult for me. So it's nice to have a tool that does it for you. And that's really what Concierge is. It's we'll make it great.
Mhm.
We'll build it from scratch. You don't have to be good at it. And as a matter of fact, we'll turn it around in a very short period of time as well.
Exactly. You mentioned Pinterest. I am obsessed with Pinspiration. We have gotten so many customers who we have a long-standing relationship with us, and it gets to the point where they almost think we're mind readers, and they will send us a very generic and vague request because they're confident that we're going to make it look amazing. And I love it, and I wish that was always the case, but even though I do feel that mind reading should be on a resume to work in our industry, it's not realistic. So there are times where I will go to Pinterest even and find some layout designs just to
Right.
make sure that we are on a somewhat of the same page in terms of expectations. So that's a little bit of a tidbit I have for people out there who feel a little clueless. Maybe search on
Check out Pinterest for sure.
And if you see even something vaguely that you like, send it our way, and then we can use that as guidance, and we'll hit the mark for you.
It's interesting in this industry that I see so many iterations of the same design. Pinterest is a great example. You don't have to take my word for it. Go to Pinterest, type in bachelorette t-shirt. There are 8 million variants of the exact same design. And that said, you could customize absolutely anything. But yeah, I mean, that's the beauty of, I guess in my mind, Concierge or anything that makes something unique, and that it's not, let's buy a print off of Amazon or Pinterest, which although that might be unique to you and your friends, there are certainly other people that may have ordered that, where like you put Jim's Family Reunion and Concierge throws together a design. It's the only one. You know what I mean? It is really unique. And honestly, receiving something unique is one of the best parts of this industry. You could go to Target, you could buy a t-shirt, you could buy a Cat and Jack t-shirt for your kids, but a design-a-shirt shirt that is your own on your favorite blank soft t-shirt not only feels good, it looks great, it's affordable, and it's unique.
Absolutely. And what's so fun with our website too is that we do have our design studio, which gives people the ability to use their creativity. Granted, this can range from all age groups, but to give you an idea, my 7-year-old son, he just started becoming obsessed with using our design studio because he realized I could take a photograph that he had drawn and make it into an art file that he can upload into our design studio. He can add text to it. He can add clip art to it. He thinks it's the coolest thing ever. And that is a level of creativity. He feels
Sure.
like he's being really creative and making something one of a kind. And he's made shirts for himself and also his little sister. And I cannot even explain the excitement on his face. I need to get it on camera. Of him when he sees these shirts. He thinks it's the coolest thing ever, and it's so fun. So to know that other customers have that similar sensation when they receive something custom that they've created, I mean, that's just one thing that is so fun about our industry.
Maybe that's what I have to do for my daughter, because every time I print a shirt for her, she gets embarrassed that her friends are going to say, "Oh no, your dad printed this shirt." But if she made it on her own,
Yeah, that's a twist.
it's the twist. Yeah. Well, actually, that's a valid point that you just mentioned. You don't have to necessarily build it in the design studio. You can import whatever type of file that you. I won't say whatever. There are obviously limitations. But the most common ones that you would upload, you can upload into our design studio to print a t-shirt and get a proof. And even if you don't have a file format that matches, reach out to us, right?
Exactly.
And we'll find a
If
way
you
to make
have
it
an
work.
art file, we likely can work with it.
Right. Okay. This is an interesting thing that I've thought about. We have access to a multitude of blanks that we don't have on the website, which is, it's good and bad. It's good in that it isn't product overload for customers, but it's bad in that if you don't see it, you assume that it's not for sale. So I think that it's important for people to know too that if there's a particular one that they like, or whether it's embroidery, screen printing, whatever it is, we do have access to more. So if someone has an idea in mind for a product that's not on our site, what's the normal flow for you guys? And what would you direct them to so that they can see what we have or to find it for them?
That's a really good question, because that's one of the challenges that we faced over the years is how many products do we offer on our website? Is there challenges about offering too much? And will people get overwhelmed if they've never done this before and have no idea the differences of t-shirts? They all start to look the same. They get overwhelmed, they get frustrated. So it's an interesting balancing act, but the amount of products that we have access to is crazy. There's so many. So in general, especially if you're getting started for the first time and aren't quite sure how to approach choosing a product, call, email, chat us, even tell us like what brands you typically like, what brands you buy, what stores you shop at, and we likely have a quote wholesale brand that is similar to what you're used to buying, a similar fit, whether it's the fit that's priority to you, a color that's priority to you. In general, we are happy to help you choose a product, and we even have the option to drop ship blank products for you to check out to help with that decision before you even place an order.
Oh, that's wonderful. One thing I will say that I'm very surprised at is, and this is a topic in itself, in that now when I go shopping in retail, I touch everything. I feel everything. And I look at some of the prints. I was just in, gosh, I want to say JCPenney or something the other day, and I saw a glitter print where the glitter was not lined up. It was all over the place. And, these are high volume printed t-shirts, but it's interesting once you've been working here for a while, we look for perfection because we want to be able to provide that for our customers for sure, right?
I had that same experience where my mom, my wonderful mom, just bought a t-shirt for Talia, and I noticed right away that they must have not wanted to pay for that extra color because there were skin tones and other areas that were in the white base that had no business being white.
Right.
One of the Marvel characters who, rather than having a flesh toned skin, was stark white. And I'm like, granted, my 1.5-year-old isn't going to care, and the shirt is still adorable. Of course, I'm not going to say anything to my mom because I appreciate the gesture, and the shirt was super adorable. But it's things like that when you're shopping around, you notice things like that. You
Right.
notice why that outcome ended up being the way it appears. You notice if a print looks out of register. You notice if the ink is super, super, super thick rather than feeling flushed against the fabric. It's pretty funny because you see things that are being sold as retail, and we know we could do it better.
For sure. Well, but that's one of the great things about being an expert in the industry is that if a customer, and we have customers that have brands, they can be small, they can be large. We've seen, I know Spiritual Gangster at one point has been through here. I know we've done some overflow for State 48, some well-known brands. Obviously, if a customer prefers their Marvel character to be ash white, then so be it. That's one thing. But if we have the ability to be kind of a consultant to them and say, hey, we think we could do this better, that's one benefit of having us on your side for sure. Here's another great question for you. Embroidery is a really tough element online because there's so many steps involved. We offer embroidery. It's a great way to elevate any brand or get a logo on a t-shirt or a polo or a hat. What's the normal workflow for an embroidery request when it comes in, and what tips do you think you might be able to have for people?
That is one challenge that we have is our current website does not offer embroidery. It mentions that you can contact us for information about embroidery, but currently with the website that we have, you cannot upload your logo and get pricing and place an order for embroidery, which is pretty unfortunate to me because I really prefer embroidery when it comes to branding and certain businesses. It looks so much more professional and has such a cleaner outcome in comparison to screen print on certain premium products, especially Nike polos and even Under Armour and hats especially. Embroidery is such a nicer option and it's going to really elevate your business brand. So we do offer embroidery, but it requires custom quoting and handling from our customer service team, which isn't a bad thing. It's just something to be aware of. So if you email us your logo, we can easily determine the number of stitches it's going to take to sew that logo. Let us know the style of product you have in mind, how many pieces you need. We can quote you at price breaks to help you decide on how many you should order it, or if you need to lump together multiple products to get better piece price, things like that. So Keep in mind, embroidery is absolutely something that I recommend and we can do. It just requires that you have to talk to one of our awesome customer service reps.
Right. If you happen to be in our area, Designer Shirts located on the 202 in Scottsdale Road in Tempe, Arizona. We do have a showroom. We're actually doing this podcast from the showroom, and we have many of those polos here in this office, and you're more than welcome to stop by and touch them and take a look. And that's great because the Nike polos are a phenomenal product. I have a couple of them with Designer Shirt on them as well. I don't believe that those are on the site. Stop in unannounced or give us a call and we'll set up an appointment for you to come on in. Okay, well, that wraps it up for podcast number 1. We are very interested in any of our audience suggestions for topics for the future. We will try to bring the most relevant content to you. If you're on YouTube, feel free to leave us a comment on what you would be interested in hearing. Or if you want more information on anything that we've discussed on today's podcast, we're happy to help as well. If you have any questions for us directly, you can email us. Dallas is DALLIS @designershirt.com, and Jessie, JESSIE @designershirt.com. I work in marketing, Jessie works in customer service, and we're happy to help you. Jessie, thanks so much for being on this podcast today, and I look forward to number 2.
Me too.
Take care.